This news update is brought to you by
This is the 6 p.m. Barbados Today update for Friday, August 29, 2014. A warm welcome to you. I'm Colin Jordan. Good evening. Well, he may not have a say either way in who succeeds him in St. Peter, but incumbent Representative Owen Arthur is publicly declaring that Tourism Executive Colin Jordan is still his man for St. Peter. Mr. Arthur, who resigned from the opposition Barbados Labour Party last month, also reveals that he's the one who's been grooming Jordan for several months now. And he says even though he's left the BLP fold, it would be hypocritical of him not to support Jordan's bid for election to the rural constituency.
I'm not a hypocrite. You would have sensed that the things that I was doing in St. Peter, that's what makes my relationship to certain people in the party so ridiculous. That it, not only had I known that it was not going to be a candidate again, but you would have sensed that I was trying to do some grooming to make sure that there was a seamless succession in St. Peter. I can't not recognize that I was involved in that exercise, and Mr. Jordan would have worked on things in St. Mr. Jordan was deputizing for me in St. Peter when they couldn't attend functions.
At the same time, Mr. Arthur says he has no regrets about his decision to quit the main opposition Barbados Labour Party and to sit as an independent. But he is making it clear that he is not a Dem and has no plans of ever becoming one. In fact, he wants the members of the ruling DLP to know that Owen Arthur is not for sale.
I am not now going to suddenly go out to become a consultant to a political institution. I'm not doing that. I'm not looking for work from Democratic Labour Party. I'm not going to do anything that would suggest that my present situation is because I'm looking for things from the government. I'm not going to do that. And I've made it very clear to the government, to those persons who may speak, that I don't want anything to be done to suggest that my present circumstances has to do with my looking to have any commercial relationship with the government. I am not available to be purchased. I am also not a trophy.
In other news, the latest crime statistics are in, and of particular concern to lawmen is the fact that several young men have been arrested and charged in connection with the 19 murders which occurred so far this year. Speaking at a press conference this morning, the acting police chief, Tyrone Griffith, also said that murders were largely linked to the illegal drugs trade.
What will be considered staggering, though, is that of the 19 homicides, 12 were perpetrated with the use of guns. I think it is this feature that might have given rise to an increase in fear. The point that has to be made is that this violence is not directed to the public at large, but rather to a restricted group which engages in particular type of behavior that is driven by the drug culture. That is not to say that we are not concerned about the death of these young men.
Local homicides are up 21%, while overall crime is said to be down 16%. And Griffith assures that Barbados remains a safe place.
I want to assure the public that Barbados remains a safe place for locals and visitors alike to enjoy and go about their business. Like anywhere else, one should be conscious of their surroundings and do not unnecessarily expose their property or themselves to potentially vulnerable situations.
Meanwhile, a man remains in police detention following this morning's bank robbery at the RBC Royal Bank at University Hill. But so far, no charges have been laid in connection with the incident. Police Public Relations Officer Inspector David Welch tells Barbados Today the man, whose identity has not been released, may have a history of mental illness. No one was injured during the daring daylight robbery, but the culprit got away with an undisclosed sum of money before he was apprehended by 2 civilians at Bats Rock. In other news, education officials are concerned about the high level of vandalism at school properties across the island. During a tour to assess the readiness of schools for the 2014-2015 school year, Education Minister Ronald Jones charged that vandals are costing the government millions of dollars annually, and he appealed to the perpetrators to desist from this practice.
You can see where windows have been kicked in, you see where doors have been kicked in, you've seen it all, and money has to be spent on repairing those, but I can't quantify the figure. There are human beings, and I cannot take the humanity out of human beings, good, bad, or indifferent. What we have to keep doing is constantly appeal to the good nature of people. And for me to want to say, well, it has stopped, I would love it to stop.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Sun power.
In sport, there's no Dwayne Bravo or Sunil Narain in the West Indies 13-man squad named today for the first of 2 test matches against Bangladesh starting on September 5 in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The only change to the squad from the West Indies' previous test assignment against New Zealand in June was the dropping of reserve batsman Leon Johnson, while all of the players have been retained. The full squad reads Dinesh Ramdin captain, Chris Gale, Craig Brathwaite, Kirk Edwards, Darren Bravo, Shivnarayan Shantapal, Jermaine Blackwood, Kemar Roach, Jerome Taylor, Jason Holder, Shannon Gabriel, Suleiman Ben, and Shane Shillingford. To Jamaica now, where education officials are showing parents and students that the new school term will begin in 3 days' time, despite a shortage of water. Some 200 schools across the country will be affected by inadequate water supplies, but Education Minister Robert Pittersgill says the government is working around the clock to ensure that classes are not interrupted. He adds that schools without proper water storage facilities will receive trucked water to ease the situation. Internationally, $100 million and counting. That's how much the popular craze, the Ice Bucket Challenge, has raised in donations. According to organizers, the monies will be used to fund cutting-edge research as well as to provide care and support for people living with ALS. The viral campaign has pulled on an A-list of participants from all over the globe, including Jamaicans Usain Bolt, a number of top West Indies players, and our very own sensation, Rihanna. I guess after she was doused with that water, she had to pull out her umbrella, Ella A. And on that note, we end our updates for this week. We'll be back again at 7 o'clock on Monday morning. Until then, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper, or like us on Facebook for the very latest news and sports. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or via screen play at supermarkets and gas stations near you. I'm Colin Jordan. Have a fantastic and safe weekend, and do join us again first thing on Monday morning.
This news update is brought to you by